It starts with a simple step, a rhythmic thud against the synthetic red track, followed by a blur of motion that defies the logic of youth. Cooper Lutkenhouse is not merely running, he's rewriting the limitations of age group athletics. Most children his age are focused on the playground, the novelty of sports, or the simple joy of movement. But for Cooper, the track has become a laboratory of speed, where every stride seems calculated to shave milliseconds off the impossible. When he lines up at the starting blocks, there is a stillness in his posture that belies the explosive kinetic energy waiting to be unleashed. The pistol fires, and in that split second, he transitions from a composed young athlete into a force of nature. The mechanics of his sprint are strikingly mature, bordering on the uncanny. While his peers often struggle with form, fighting against wind resistance or losing momentum through inefficient arm swings, Cooper displays a mechanical efficiency that usually takes years of elite coaching to develop. His knees drive high, his foot strike is precise, and his posture remains remarkably stable even as he reaches his top-end speed. This isn't just natural talent. It is an intuitive understanding of physics. He moves as if he is perpetually leaning into the air, using his own weight to propel him forward, while his legs cycle with a frequency that seems to vibrate against the ground. Observers at local meets often find themselves checking their stopwatches twice, convinced that the hand timing or the automated sensor must have malfunctioned. But the times are real, and the results are consistently record-breaking. It is the nonchalance with which he approaches these feats that truly sets him apart. After crossing the finish line, leaving his competitors meters behind, he doesn't celebrate with theatrical flair or aggressive displays of dominance. Instead, he jogs calmly toward his coaches or parents, looking more concerned with his breathing or his hydration than the history he just shattered. He runs with a singular, quiet focus that suggests he is not competing against the field, but rather against his own internal benchmark. He is destroying world-class age group records, and to him, it feels like nothing more than a Tuesday morning training session. This disconnect, the sheer magnitude of his achievement versus his understated reaction, is what makes him a fascinating case study in human potential. We are witnessing the maturation of a prodigy who treats the extraordinary as the standard. The rapid rise of Cooper Lutkenhouse is not a story of overnight success, but rather a testament to the compounding nature of early disciplined exposure. While the public eye is fixed on the record boards and the falling times, the reality behind his performance is rooted in a specific, high-intensity training environment that demands consistency above all else. Most young athletes are encouraged to diversify, to play multiple sports, and to avoid specialization until their mid-teens. However, Cooper's path has been one of deep immersion. By focusing intently on the mechanics of sprinting, he has been able to develop a neurological blueprint for speed that is remarkably advanced. His central nervous system appears to be wired for explosive output, allowing his muscles to fire with a level of synchronization that allows for minimal wasted energy. This efficiency is most apparent in his transition phases. In track and field, the difference between a good runner and a record breaker is often found in the drive phase, the initial seconds after the blocks, where the athlete must overcome inertia. Cooper's ability to stay low, to keep his center of gravity aligned, and to generate force horizontally rather than vertically is exceptional. Most young runners instinctively pop up too quickly, sacrificing power for a sense of comfort. Cooper, however, remains hunched, digging into the track with a tenacity that suggests he is unaware of how much faster he is moving than his contemporaries. He isn't just running. He is negotiating with the laws of motion in real time, adjusting his stride length and frequency to account for track conditions and fatigue. Perhaps the most compelling aspect of his ascent is the lack of psychological pressure he seems to exert on himself. Elite athletics are often characterized by high stakes, anxious parents, and the crushing weight of expectation. Yet in watching Cooper, one sees an athlete who remains remarkably present. He doesn't look at the other lanes. He doesn't check the scoreboard to see how close the gap is. His gaze is fixed firmly on the horizon, a visual manifestation of his internal state. By not realizing the gravity of the records he is toppling, he effectively removes the mental barrier that often causes athletes to tighten up or underperform in big moments. He operates with a quiet, flow-state confidence that is usually the hallmark of veterans, not children. This psychological immunity allows his physical talents to express themselves fully without the interference of ego or doubt. The sustained success of a young athlete like Cooper Lutkenhouse invites a complex question. What happens when the prodigy eventually realizes the magnitude of their own shadow? As he continues to lower times that have stood for decades, the external pressure from the media, scouting networks, and the broader sports community will inevitably begin to mount. The innocence of his current approach, that unconscious mastery, will face its greatest test as he transitions from being a local standout to a national and eventually international focal point. Sustaining this level of performance requires more than just biological gifts. It demands a psychological evolution where he must learn to channel the scrutiny into motivation without letting it fracture his natural rhythm. The challenge for his support team is to protect that quiet internal focus while helping him develop the resilience needed for the higher stakes environments that await. Looking at the trajectory of historical speed kings, the physical toll of such intense training at a young age is a significant variable. Muscles, tendons, and bones are still in a state of rapid development, and the explosive forces Cooper generates with every stride put enormous stress on his physiology. His path will require a sophisticated, long-term approach to athletic longevity, balancing his innate desire to push limits with the necessary recovery protocols that prevent burnout or injury. It's a delicate equilibrium. Keep the spark of his raw, aggressive style alive, while wrapping it in the protective layer of scientific training and injury prevention. If he can maintain this balance, he isn't just a fleeting moment of brilliance. He has the potential to redefine what the next generation of sprinters looks like. Ultimately, Cooper Lutkenhouse represents a rare convergence of genetic predisposition and psychological simplicity. He is a reminder that the most formidable competitor is often the one who is entirely preoccupied with the process rather than the outcome. As he continues to push forward, he is not just racing against stopwatches or his peers. He is carving out a new definition of potential. Whether he remains the unassuming kid on the track or blossoms into a global icon, the blueprint he is creating, one of focus, efficiency, and an almost detached pursuit of excellence, will be studied by those looking to understand the mechanics of greatness. The records are falling because he simply hasn't decided that they are supposed to be difficult to break. That perspective, more than any physical attribute, is the true engine behind his incredible run.